the contrast with the shadows and things like that, so you can go past things very easily. So that's hence my speed. Got a really lovely question here from Barbara in Maryland. Barbara, welcome and thank you very, very much for joining us today. It's great to have you on board. And your question is, what age do cheetahs start hunting? That really does depend on a lot of situations, but generally speaking, if they do, nice spotting. If they do, we've just spotted some elephant here, so we'll sit with them. But to finish your question, Barbara, they will start hunting at sort of about 3 to 5 years of age. They will be with their parent, their mother, for up to probably about 12 to 18 months, and then they'll start to learn how to hunt. They really have to pick up that skill. It's as you probably know, and if you don't, there's a percentage rate of hunts that is very, very low in cheetah. It's like they're sometimes up around 70% failure rate. So every hunt that a cheetah does, it expends an incredible amount of energy. It really just has to rest, sit down and rest, and compose itself for another hunt. But generally speaking, those cubs will stick around with the mother. And if it's brothers, that's always a great thing. If there's maybe 2 or 3 brothers in that litter, they can stay with each other for quite an amount of time and form what's called a coalition. Now it happens, sorry, the sun's right in my eyes there. The coalition can form from brothers. They may stay together for some time, and they also may split up. But that coalition allows them to hunt potentially bigger prey or have a bit more success rate. There's so many dynamics in a cheetah population, and cheetah population is fragmented over Africa, particularly in places like Namibia, where the biggest populations are. It's fragmented hugely by rural lands, by farmlands, and the cheetahs actually have to get onto those lands as well and hunt, and there can be human-animal conflict. But to answer your question, they hunt up to getting there about 3 to 5 years of age, and they'll be getting up to full speed, and then hopefully having success. And once they start to learn all the techniques, and they'll be on their merry way. Shall we go and sit with these elephants? There must be more here. Oh yeah, there's more on the other side of the road. So we might just go and this might be our herd from earlier this morning. Just gonna. It's all right, girl. It's all right, girl. It's all right, my girl. A nice little one there. Lovely light coming through. There's a couple more on the other side of the road. I'll just keep my eye on, but the camera will stay on this this female with her offspring. And they're starting to move out of those cooler shady spots now. Quite beautiful just to sit and be. I'm just going to put our nose just in here, just at the nose of our vehicle. And the reason I say that, sorry Andrew, I should have told you I was starting up there, sorry mate, I just wanted to get a little bit of a better position for you. And I'm sure she's fine, she looks absolutely unperturbed by us. And a little youngster is just there as well. Got a lovely branch right in the way, but hopefully I'll be able to just get around that. It's all right, my girl. How's that for you, mate? Yeah, is that okay? Okay, we'll just button off here. She's completely fine. She's completely relaxed. I've just got to watch my back here. We've got a great question, and I'm sorry, I'm just looking around here as I speak, but James has just asked a question in Kansas. Hi, James, and welcome aboard to you, sir. It's great to have you on board, and you've asked a lovely question I touched on this morning, but it's a really nice parallel that you found, that you see some sort of a lot of similarities between elephants' behaviour and sort of social structure as we, us humans, and that's very true, James. There's many a parallel that I draw, and I really just love how they care for their young like we do. They stay in family groups like we do. They really do bond together and have lifelong relationships with family members and kinship members as well in distant herds. You see some incredible things sometimes, James, and everyone. You'll see herds. I've been sitting in a herd in Kenya where I've seen had to be over 150 animals joined together, but they're all small herds, small family units coming together. Those family units had come together, and the greetings that went on, and the excitement, and the vocalizations. Now, there's that big word that we use when we talk about wildlife, when we compare ourselves to them, anthropomorphism. So maybe I am being a bit anthropomorphic and comparing, giving animals human-like qualities, but I think we've got all got a little bit of that in us, and there is definitely a mystery about these animals that we do compare to our lives and our social structure, and why we're so fascinated with them, I believe, James. So it's a great question, mate, and yeah, thank you so much. Really nice one. So she's right behind this tree at the moment. It's not a very good shot for us, so I'm going to just...
This is good, the young one's coming out.
Oh, okay, little guy, okay, good one. Andrew's got a little angle that I can't see because he's a bit more elevated, but the youngsters seems to be pushing his nose forward here, so he might come into view. And it's nice just to be behind a bit of vegetation as well. It doesn't always have to be that clear view. It's just nice to sit here. So just pulling up to a herd of elephants is always something you do with a gentle approach, great respect, with all animals of course, great respect. Just watch the behaviour, watch particularly the matriarch's behaviour, and if there's any behaviour that she's showing any displeasure whatsoever, you would back away, and we would just move to another location. We have no problem with that whatsoever. These guys dictate the rules. We're on their turf, and we're very privileged to be allowed to be so close to them. She's moved into nice light there now. Oh, here comes the little one. So this little guy here is probably about a year, 2.5, or maybe 2 years old. Yeah, about 2 years old, I think. Just coming out the other side. Grace, welcome aboard to you from Texas. A wonderful place in the world, and I've been there many a time. Grace, your question is a great question as well. How far would an elephant roam from its herd? Well, they always stay in contact, either through communication, vocal communication. They can normally see each other. Their eyesight's not fantastic, but they can normally hear each other, sense each other, use a communication that is inaudible to us, but at a frequency that they can communicate at. And they all sort of get the understanding, they bond together, they work together. So it wouldn't be too far, but they might spread off out if they felt safe. And as soon as the matriarch, if we sort of stick with them, we can just watch this herd build around us. But you know, I think while we wait for that, I reckon we should cross to see what Pete is up to. And Pete's always got a surprise up his sleeve, so I'll come back to you just now. But we'll stick with these Ellies and see what happens. I'll see you just now.
Oh, this is pulled out. Yuri, you copy? Guys, my apologies. My microphone pulled out of its socket, so I didn't hear you. Big welcome back on the vehicle. We came back to Trias Dam, and look at what we found. Well, to be honest, it wasn't us that found it. Johan from Chakana Camp found it. And just from the behavior and from the eyes, I'm thinking that this is Kunyuma, one of my favorite leopards. I'm very happy to see him. I just want to give Yuri and them a call quickly, so they can have a look as well. Yuri, you copy? Djuma game drive, Yuri, you copy? Oh, what a stunning cat. All mobiles, 1 Ingwe, Trias Dam, Lalapanzi. Yeah, AFM, 1 Ingwe, Trias Dam. Right, now guys, sorry, that was just to let the guys know, this is of course one of the ultimate prizes in the game drive, to see this animal, a leopard, apart from the fact that it's so beautiful that it's almost what's the word, mythical in some places, because you never see them. Here in Sabi Sands, this is one of the big attractions. This is why people travel here, to experience this, to see this. And this is the same leopard we saw this morning, Kunyuma. His name means to be a little bit shy or weary, and as you could see, he gave us a few little snarls there, just sort of asking us what's our story, but he's not bothered. He grew up with Karula. His mother is extremely habituated, extremely relaxed, and he just has a slightly different personality. He's a little bit more elusive, but I've also found in the past that if you spend time with him, if you give him time to get relaxed with you, he's absolute magic to watch. And I must say, just within the 5 months since I've seen him, he's certainly grown. He's in great shape. That belly is full of nyala. He caught a nyala last night close to the dam here. Aubrey and them saw the tracks and they found the hair, but from the tracks they could also tell that the hyenas, which live in the den not very far from here, stole that nyala from him. So even though we didn't see it, the newspaper, you know, the things we can read, has told us that that this guy, what he did the last 12 or 24 hours, caught a nyala, ate it, lost it to the hyenas, and now we are fortunate enough to be looking at him. Oh, what a pleasure. And they're just so beautiful when they move. Just the very movement of them, putting one foot in front of the other, is beautiful to watch. They're so fluid. He's going to disappear behind the front edge of the other vehicle. As I said, this is one of the private camps. What an amazing thing to see every time. I don't get tired of it, not ever. I don't think I ever will. He's going to come out on the backside there. Oh, amazing light as well. Oh, look at that. Amazing light as well. We've got this late afternoon light, beautiful, soft. You can see the glint in his eye. Oh, guys, this is what deep breaths are meant for. Very specific eye shapes. His father is a leopard called Mvula. Mvula means rain in Shangaan. Beautiful leopard as well. And the first time I saw Kunyuma, I'd read at that stage that that was his father. But just when I saw him, I could see it. I could see it in his eyes. What a treat. What an afternoon, really. Guys, and this is also the most beautiful time of day to see it. These guys in the other vehicle next to us, they're also keen photographers. You can just hear the shutters rolling. Light is beautiful, one of the most amazing animals to photograph. There's smiles all around. Yuri, you copy? What a surprise. But let's go around. He's going to move along. We're going to get to the other side there, I think. Johan? Wil julle voorgaan? Nee, ek sê julle kan voorgaan. Ons kom agterna. Ja. As julle vashak, sal ek net 'n bietjie druk met die Land Rover, hoor. Sorry guys, I actually just get a little joke in there. These are guys that come here very often. And you know, that's another thing to appreciate. People that get to be so fortunate to do this quite often throughout the year because they've got a permanent place here. And you sit at a place like this and they've all got these beautiful big smiles on their faces, happy to see something like this. It's a treat every time. I think you can do this a million times in your life and you'll still be mesmerized by these amazing animals. Hey Brian?
Fantastic.
As a cameraman, I mean, wasn't that one of your ultimate dreams to sit in the middle of Africa filming a leopard like that? And every time it happens, it must still be a little bit of like, pinch myself, you know, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
I still feel like that all the time, so, yeah. And you know, it's also amazing, and this is important for every single one of you. Maybe this is the 1000th time you've come on a game drive with us. Maybe this is your first few minutes. Maybe you were lucky to have finally found this amazing experience in Africa, and as you joined us, there was a leopard. It's not always that easy. But you know what's really amazing about all of this? It's neither Brian nor myself nor any of us. Guys back in control. None of us would be able to do this. You wouldn't be able to see this if it wasn't for all of us being part of it. That is one of the things that I find amazing about this. The fact that you guys are joining us from Virginia and from Fiji and from Durban and from Ohio and all the places that we've mentioned this afternoon, all the places we haven't mentioned. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be seeing this. So thank you very much for bringing us here. And bringing us here to look at something like that. It's going to come through again. Blending into the background, or in the foreground in this case. That dappled coat is amazing for camouflage. Guys, well, if you've missed this, I'm glad you're back with us. We've had an incredible sighting of this leopard. Drinking water. It looked for a second like it was going to climb that tree, which would be quite cool. That's quite a tall marula tree. Still looking up it, I wonder why. There's nothing around that's threatening him. There was a hyena in the vicinity earlier, but I don't think it was really concerning him. He was lying not far away in the grass. What a pleasant surprise. This is the leopard we've been looking for. This afternoon I've been going on about checking twin dams. My gut feeling was that he was going to drink at twin dams. Obviously Treehouse Dam. Treehouse Dam, not that far away. After the buffalo, after the elephant, after what's been a very fun afternoon, we came to Treehouse Dam to have a look, and voila, what do you know? There was a leopard. The vehicle you can see there, that's from one of the private lodges. They spotted him, so great thanks to them. And that's what it's all about. The surprise of the next drive, the next corner, the next bend, and what you might see around it. Tell the guys on the other vehicle as well, in case they don't know. So just to note what I'm doing. Guys, just for interest sake, he caught a nyala here last night.
Okay.
Big mature nyala. You'll see there by Philemon's dip, the horns are lying there in the bush. And then from the tracks, the hyenas came from the den and they stole the kill from him. So he's got a full belly, but the food was stolen. Yeah. It's always nice to share news as well. You know, the more in depth you understand a character, an animal, a specific individual, in this case, this beautiful young leopard male, the more interesting it becomes because you get to know his story, you get to share sort of the news of his last 24 hours. Here we go. I'm going to go around a little bit. Good afternoon, Andre in Florida, or Andre, depending how you say it. Andre is just asking, good question, Andre. Always, you know, questions based on observation is fantastic because it shows that you're interpreting what you're seeing. You know, you're reading the newspaper of the bush and you're reading the behavior of the animal. Andrew's asking, the fact that he was drinking, was that a show of being comfortable with us? Andrew, this is quite a funny leopard, to be honest. And one of the reasons I like him, and I don't mean funny like Chris Rock. I mean funny like peculiar. You know, he's a bit more like a Johnny Depp or a Al Pacino, perhaps. There's a great character to this leopard that I find fascinating. He was giving us a little bit of a snarl earlier, even though he was comfortable. We could see he was comfortable. His tail wasn't swishing around. He wasn't bothered by us. He was more just like sort of lying there and going like, hey, you know, see if we're awake kind of thing. Got up and go to drink. Now, all of that was showing that he was comfortable. The bit of a snarl, maybe not, but he wasn't uncomfortable. His tail wasn't showing anything. He wasn't showing any discomfort. Also, the way that this leopard grew up, oh, he might jump on that branch. That's going to be very pretty if it does. I love seeing leopard up on anything, displaying themselves a bit. The fact that he jumped up on the branch, if that happens, it'll be quite cool. But the fact that he went to drink certainly shows he was comfortable. And also, Andre, this leopard, again, he's been known since he was a little cub. His mother, Karula, is a very well-known leopard around here. So he's very used to vehicles, but he's a strange cat sometimes. Look at that last afternoon light just catching his face. Beautiful displayed against the background of that dark marula tree. What a special treat for us. Amazing eyes as well. Leopard's eyes are just, you can get lost in them. Oh, he's going to walk right past the front of us here. My favorite leopard in Sabi Sands, other than his mother Karula and their grandmother Safari, who's now passed away. Look at him right in front of us. There's the vehicle, that's the edge, that's my hand. You can hear the twigs and the leaves under his paws. Oh. I'm not easily left speechless, but these leopards sometimes get me very close to it. It's just such a privilege to sit here and experience this. To sit here in the capacity that we are, sharing this with people from all around the world right at this moment. That, like leopards, still takes my breath away. It's so cool to be part of this process, part of this experience and part of this adventure, and to have at the core of that story, as the premise of that story, amazing wildlife with this leopard, those elephants we saw earlier. Wow, thank you. Excuse me.
Jy moet net sê as 'n ander camera is wat wil inkom, want ek kan nou niemand hoor nie.
Nee, is reg, ek sal dit weet. No problem. Johan's is asking for some help there. His radio's got a problem. No worries, I'll give you a shout, Tim. He's just asking if anyone else is coming, that I just tell him, please, he doesn't have a radio. Angela in Missouri. Angela just asked me if leopards ever sleep deep enough to be surprised and potentially killed by a hyena. Angela, yes, it's not impossible, but not likely. They're incredibly alert when they sleep, incredibly aware of their surroundings. Oh, look at that. Lovely place. Nice marula tree in the back. So it can happen, Angela, but highly unlikely. They're very alert. Often they sleep up in trees or places where a hyena can't get to them. But it does happen. Hyenas do sometimes kill leopard. Normally when there's a sort of confrontation around food, when the leopard's made a kill and in the process the hyena surprise him, when there's lots of sort of chaos going on. So I just want to talk to the game drivers again. I don't know if they've copied earlier, and this really is something that you want to share with people in the area as they do with us. So give me a second, please. All stations, just to confirm, did you copy earlier? There's one Ingwe, Treehouse Dam, now heading south. Aubrey again. Okay, for now, I just want to make sure that you guys heard me. It's Kunyuma and he's now heading straight south, maybe 200 meters, just Lalapanzi again. 2 more was unlocked, so anyone can just shout. Doing a bit of grooming. Now, all cats do this, all animals do this in the wild. They keep themselves clean. Leopards perhaps one of the best at that. They do keep themselves very neat, very clean. Even if they've walked only a little bit through the grass, they stop, they groom themselves using the tongue, the paws. So to give you an idea, Stefan, I was talking to him just before he went on a few days leave. He was saying, Peter, if you go walking, make sure you take precautions for ticks and that you check yourself, because there's a lot of ticks at the moment. So you can imagine an animal like that, nice furry coat, you have to keep yourself clean all the time. Goedemiddag Gert, good afternoon Gert from the Netherlands. Gert is just asking, why do we use Shangaan and Zulu names when we speak about the animals on the radio? I was going to say because it sounds cool, and to be honest, it does sound quite cool. I think I love the Shangaan language. It's a beautiful language. Half of my son's name is in Shangaan, so it's not the reason. The reason is that you've got other people sitting on the game drives the same as you are. And a lot of the vehicles, a lot of the places don't use what we call secret comms. This little earpiece I've got in means that I can hear the control room, but I can also hear the game drives talking to me without you hearing all the noise. Now, people don't always use that. Some lodges, if they've got 5 or 6 guests in the vehicle, they have the radio just on normal. And if people were then talking about, we've got lions here, or leopards there, or buffalo there, their guests would be hearing that, and it might be someone that's not even in the same area. Maybe it's a guy further south by too far to get to, that says we've got lions here, and it's just simply you can't go there. Or they might say, well, we saw the leopards yesterday, today we're looking for them again and we can't find them. Now, if someone overhears that, they might think they're losing out. So it's just to prevent people from over-expecting or becoming too excited about something that they might not be able to see. So it's a little bit of code language if you want. But it does sound very nice as well. I love the Shangaan language. I became fairly proficient at it over time. I'll give you a couple of those names quickly. Shanga name for this, Ingwe. Ingwe, funny enough, is in there's a few words that are pretty much in all the African languages that you find, not in all of them, but all the Southern African languages, even though they might differ quite a lot. In other words, they might differ as much as French would differ from German, or English would differ from Spanish. But Ingwe, leopard, Ingwe, Nyoka, snake, and Nyama, meat. Those three words translate in pretty much all the African languages the same, which I always find quite interesting. Other names, Ngala, which is the Shanga name for lion. Often around here people refer to Ngonyam or Ngonis, which is a more sort of a Fanagalo slang name, but Ngala is the Shangan for lion. Ndlov, Ndlovu, Ndlov, elephant. Nyare or Nyati would be buffalo that we saw earlier. And a beautiful word that's not a bad one to know before you come visit in the Loafveld is Nkomo. Nkomo, N-K-O-M-U, Nkomo, which means thank you. It's always nice to know the word for thank you in any language, any country that you go visit. I always try and learn at least the word for thank you. It gets a smile every time. Well, for the last few minutes, not too much has changed. This guy is nice and relaxed. He does have a full belly. Maybe you've joined us just recently. Just a quick story. He did kill a Nyala bull last night. Quite a big Nyala. In fact, it would have been something to see. It wouldn't have weighed much less or more than he does. So he's got a full belly, but he didn't get to eat most of it because the hyenas stole it from him. But nonetheless, he's got a full belly of food. So there's no urgency for him to hunt. But leopards are eternal optimists, eternal opportunists. So this guy, if opportunity comes along, will take it. I'm sort of sitting here hoping, I mean, obviously to see what he does because it's fascinating, but I would love it if he jumped up on that tree in the back. I think everyone's thinking the same in the back of their minds. You look at a tree like that and you go, that's a cool tree for a leopard to, you know, just go stand a little bit, get a few pictures, you know. And they might. Leopards are sort of like that. They like little viewpoints, and when they're moving, to jump up on something, look around a bit, jump down again. So we'll see what he gets up to. That would have been pushed over by elephants. We sort of touched on different vegetations earlier. Genevieve in New York was asking about sort of the mineral composition of plants throughout the year, changing with the seasons. And you do find certain times of the year elephants eat more roots. So they push over trees like that to get to the roots. Other times of year they eat more leaves, other times they eat more grass. Leopards, however, they eat the same stuff throughout the year. Interestingly enough, it might be more varied than people tend to think. People always just think that they hunt certain things. For some reason people often think they hunt baboons. They don't really hunt baboons a lot. They do, but they're a bit wary of baboons. Big male baboons have got larger canine teeth than lions or leopards, and they're very strong. And they've effectively got 4 hands, so very, very tricky to get hold of them and very dangerous. In Sabi Sands, in this specific area that we're in, this leopard that we're looking at in Kunyuma, his mother Karula, his brother Q, the dominant males in the area, Mvula, Tingana, the typical prey species for them would be, to a large extent, impala, because they're numerous, because they're good size for them. They would also hunt other medium-sized antelopes, bushbuck, nyala, like what this guy hunted last night, young zebra, young kudu, especially for the big male leopards, warthog, steenbok, duiker, the smaller antelope species. But then there would also be little opportunities along the way. I've seen them eat big moths in summertime when there's lots of insects. They will eat termites when there's sort of a place where there's lots of termites. For those of you that joined us in November, I remember this amazing drive we had with our hyena catching termites while they were flying around. Leopards might do something similar. Little birds, big birds, you know, guinea fowl, francolins that we saw earlier. Little reptiles, a skink or something, a mouse. I've seen them catch squirrels. Can adapt to sort of their conditions and their sort of options for food or their prey species, great at adapting to it. As well, we're going to stick with this leopard. This is the time of day when things start to happen. But at the same time, leopards have got one thing in abundance, and that is patience. Any hunter, any successful hunter, as an individual, and even more so as a species, absolutely need patience. And I think no one knows that better than leopards. So I think this guy looks pretty relaxed for the moment. We're going to stay with him. We might position a little bit better, see what he does. But until he does so, enjoy the drive with Hayden a little bit, see what he bumps into. I know he's very happy. That's the beautiful thing about Hayden. He gets just as excited about what we see this side as what you see that side. So yesterday you had Q, his brother, with Hayden. Today we've got the brother this side. Enjoy it that side. As soon as this guy moves, anything happens, we're going to get you back here again.
So we just were driving along a little bit. We left those elephants back in the vegetation. They were moving off into some really thick country. We just thought we'd let them be, and we've come down and we've come across this old one-horned buffalo lying in this wallow. And I remember this buffalo. He's been around here for quite a long time. I mean, I could be mistaken. There might be several buffalo around with only one horn, but I do remember him. He was kind of quite a distinct break in his horn, but his boss, that sort of bulbous part in the middle there, wasn't as big as others, and it's been really worn down, as you can see. So I think it's the same animal I saw 6 months ago. He's pretty cool old boy, and he's just here on his lonesome, lying in this wallow, coating himself in that mud to help him protect himself from biting flies and parasites. If you go in close, Andrew, and have a little bit of a look at he's a bit of a beaten up old boy. He's got tear marks in his ears and a big scar across his nose and a broken horn, and he's probably in the day of getting to the great savannah in the sky, but it'll be a while off yet. I mean, if he could last a lot longer. It's just that, once they get to a certain age, and they'll be displaced from the bigger herds, and they end up choosing to join a bachelor herd, as we said this morning, or sometimes live a solitary life. But he seems quite content at the moment. He's got good condition on him. You can see he's quite nice and fat, and buffalo have got an amazing ability to digest some of the coarsest of grass, so he's quite at home in this vegetation at the moment, whereas a lot of the wildebeest and the zebras have moved off to get the sweeter grass. But he's happy days. He's quite an old beast, isn't he? Look at that scar right across his nose there. He's quite content. We're only about probably 5 to 7 meters away from him, just to give you a little indicator of the distance. And yeah, he's very content. Very content. Beautiful glossy starling just turned up there. He's still a formidable guy. You wouldn't be taking him on. Got a question from Jimmerlin asking, do buffaloes draw more flies or attract more flies than other animals? Well, I have to say, Jimmerlin, in my experience, and I think I'd be talking on behalf of Most people I know that work in wildlife, if there's buffaloes around, there's a lot more flies around, that's for sure. They're in the bovine family, the cattle family, and they just happen to attract masses of flies. And when you've got a big breeding herd, well, when I say breeding herd, lots and lots of different small clans that join together into a herd that moves together, sometimes 300 and 400 animals I've seen here on Djuma and Arethusa. The flies can be horrendous. So the answer to that is yes, they really do attract more flies than many of the other species I know. You can see what he's doing there again. We talked about it yesterday, but it's good just to touch on it ever so quickly again. He's ruminating, and he's got that ability to regurgitate his food and chew it over and over again. He's a big boy. We might let you be, sir, and let you ruminate away. We might go and ruminate ourselves somewhere else. Thank you for your time. There's a little nod of acceptance there. So we're just going to go down a little dip here. We do get a little bit of camera dropout sometimes just in these spots. There's a couple of notorious little spots. I'll get through it and then talk on the other side. The temperature's beautiful now, folks. Really beautiful temperature. It's dropped probably 7-8 degrees Celsius. Never know what's around that next corner. This is the time of the day that things come out. You can drive around and have a look at loads of different things, and you might not come across a lot of animals. Of course, you can just have a beautiful drive looking at the scenery and the plants, etc., which I'll start to stop at more plants now, getting my feet back on the ground as time goes on. But we just saw that small herd. It was probably the tail end of a herd. It was only about 4 or 5 animals, and there could have been individuals down in that valley that we didn't even see of elephants. So we just had a little encounter with them, and we've come down, we've just seen that buffalo wallowing as well. Time of the night that you do get a little bit more activity from the predators. Your heart rate rises a few beats per minute, maybe 10 or 20 beats per minute, because you do get a little bit of excitement, the anticipation that builds within you when you're on drive. And it is that thing, you just don't know. We go around this bend, we don't know what's there, and it's always great to have that anticipation. It does take you back to being, it doesn't matter whether you're a child or an adult, that anticipation and excitement is within us all, and that's what Wild Safari Live's about, interacting with you being on board with us, and it's just a great feeling to know that you're all out there with that same anticipation. Lovely light here at the moment, folks. Beautiful afternoon. Very nice question from Veronica. Veronica, thank you very much for your question and joining us this afternoon. And Veronica would like to know how old that buffalo was. Buffalo can get quite old. They're amazing creatures. They battle on, and when they're in a group like a solitary bachelor group, they can get to a ripe old age. I probably would say he is about in his 20s, I'd say, comfortably, and probably early 20s, I'd say. Veronica, just a guess. It's a bit hard to tell. It depends what they've been through as well, so it really does. If they've been through a few battles and battle scars, they can look a little bit more knocked about than others, but around 20 years old, I'd say, that animal there. Thanks for your question, Veronica. So I'm going to head down towards this dam. I think we should cross to see what Pete's up to with Kunyuma, and then if I find anything interesting, I'll come right back to you. I'll see you just now.
Welcome back. It was nice to be with HT for a bit. I know that in spirit he's very happy with us, enjoying this leopard as well. Hasn't really moved much. Last few minutes he's rolled over on his back for a little bit and put his head up a little bit to look around, but nothing really major. Now he might do this for another 2 hours, not go anywhere, or he might get up in the next second, so anything can happen. I do think he's going to move quite soon. I don't think he's going to move very far necessarily, but it is nice and cool. The sun has actually dipped away now, so we're in that sort of crepuscular time of the day. It's a great time for hunting for leopards, so you might just take a little stroll and see if any easy opportunities present themselves, or he might just take it easy. Either way. Hello Debbie. Debbie's asking out of Lakewood, would a male nyala be too heavy for a leopard to lift up into a tree? And that's actually a good point, Debbie. I didn't even think of that. Two things. Where he killed the nyala from as I said, I didn't actually see it. Aubrey just explained it to me and I know the place quite well. There's no big trees close by. So it might have been that there was an easy opportunity. It's not very far from the hyena den. So it might also have been that there were just hyenas close by. So as the kill happened, obviously there's a bit of noise that goes with it. It might have been that the hyenas were there quite quickly. Although at the same time, if you look at the leopard, he did get something to eat. So he did have at least 10-15 minutes to eat. So if you take all those sort of factors and you build the story from it, then I would say the weight of the nyala possibly could have played a role. So good question. A male nyala, I haven't read in probably 15 years what they weigh, but a big male nyala, I'm just thinking of the horns that I saw. It was a mature male. I mean, he wasn't a massive male, but I would say he was probably a good 50-60 kilograms. So let's say 60 kilos. This leopard now is probably about 50-60 kilograms. He's not a massive male yet, but he's a decent size. So they would have weighed, I think it's safe to say they would have weighed fairly close to each other in terms of weight. Now, a leopard would be able to take that up a tree, but he would need a decent tree with the right sort of branches and angle and opportunity to get it up there. So it could have played a role, the size of the nyala, but also it was below the dam wall, sort of in a sort of a slightly hidden area. So maybe he thought he was going to get away from it or get away with it for a while before hyenas discovered him, and maybe it was next to Treehouse Dam. In fact, when we arrived at Treehouse Dam before we saw the leopard, there was a hyena that came for a drink. As I mentioned, the leopard was just looking at it. So it might have been circumstances as well. They just sort of wasn't really in the leopard's favor to keep the food. But he still did get a full belly of food out of it. spoke about this morning. We touched on leopard and lion difference, and since we can't see his face, but we can see his coat beautifully, have a close look at the patterns on that coat. You'll see it's not single spots. There are single spots, but it's not everywhere. They're all different shapes, and in many cases, especially along the sort of the spinal column and the side of the main body, you get the spots sort of forming little rosettes. So they're forming little patterns, and then you've got everything from almost white through light beige to almost a brown and russet color on the coat. So all of that plays a great role in making this animal very, very camouflaged, and much more so than a cheetah, perhaps even. Cheetahs have got sort of direct spots on them. Sandy, Missouri is asking a very interesting question. Hello Sandy, nice to have you in the vehicle again. Sandy's just asking if wild cats bury their waste or their feces like some other cats do. Sandy, no, they don't really bury it. You will sometimes get them kicking sand when they, especially the males, when they're urinating a little bit. That is just to leave additional scent marks to the urine. They've also got interdigital glands, so glands in between the toes, and they leave a scent with that as well. Some of your small cats, I believe, do so. Some of your small desert cats and may even be the African wild cats that do that. But the bigger ones, leopard, lion, cheetahs, they don't really bother with that. You can see he's still breathing quite fast, even though he hasn't been running or moving at all. He's just been lying here. That's because the belly is so full. So the belly is full enough that it's pushing up against the diaphragm, meaning he can't take deep breaths. He's got to sort of take short, shallow breaths, which is why he's panting like that. Good question, Ruth. Good afternoon. Ruth is joining us from Costa Rica on the drive, and just asking, how does a leopard's character or persona or presence compare to a jaguar or a tiger? Well, in many ways, very similar to both of those, really. You could compare it quite easily to a jaguar. In fact, there's not that much difference between them, other than that leopards have evolved on Africa and Asia, way back when, also in Europe. But you still get them in Africa now, and of course, jaguars are more South America. So very, very similar to each other on many ways. Physical features to a large extent. You get the black leopard, you get the black panther. Both are just melanistic forms of the normal sort of variation like we're looking at now. Solitary behavior is very similar. Obviously there's some differences, but very, very similar. Tigers in a way are much bigger. I mean, tigers are bigger than lions even, but to a large extent more similar behavior to leopards, more solitary, more similar way of hunting as well. Lions really are quite different in the sense that they've evolved into large group animals, very social animals. Awesome to see. Wouldn't that be great? Go drive around looking for tigers. Well, welcome back for those that were gone for a bit. Very warm welcome to those of you that maybe have just joined us on the game drive here this afternoon. We are in the southern end of Africa, in the Greater Kruger National Park, and we've been spending it with a wide variety of amazing animals this afternoon. Hayden started with an elephant, we've had buffalo, we've had more elephant, we've had great bird life this afternoon, seen some interesting things, and we just got a big highlight at the end with this leopard. We saw him briefly this morning. We've been sort of keeping him in the back of our mind the whole afternoon, and we were lucky enough to find him at Treehouse Dam. So all smiles all around the vehicle. So if you've just joined us, a big welcome. If this is maybe your first time on safari with us, an even bigger welcome. You might make some good friends here. There's people on the vehicle at the moment that have been here since the very first drive, which is many years ago. Only a few days ago was the anniversary. So welcome to the family. I hope you're going to join us in future. This is a fully live drive, which means you are here right now, the same as I am. You can ask a question, I'll answer it for you. If something happens now, you're going to be the first to know about it, the same as me or anyone else that's part of this team. So it really is a very personal, very direct experience, and it's our privilege to share it with you. If you have questions, if you want to ask something like, is it really live perhaps, or any of those kind of things, you're welcome to send them through. In fact, let's quickly swamp the control with emails. Let's, everyone that likes being in Africa, everyone that likes to be in Africa, do you mind just sending an email through to questions@WildEarth, or tweet it if you want, the word Africa, or I love Africa, I love Safari, I love Safari Live, I love Wild Earth, as many of you as possible. Those of you that have done this previous times with me, let's just mess with the control room, let's block up the emails, let's make a mess there. If it's your first time, send a question in, say hello, let's start chatting, because you know what, one of the beautiful things of what we're doing right now is that we can share it with each other around the world, and that is so, so cool. I'm so proud to be part of that, and to do it in a way where we're sitting with amazing animals like this, a beautiful leopard, not caring about us at the moment, he's half asleep. We're going to sit here nice and relaxed, see what he gets up to. Might go back to Hayden, maybe he finds another leopard, maybe he finds Karula. This one's mother has been in the area the last few days. We haven't seen her. We saw her briefly on Hayden's first morning drive. We've seen her tracks. Anything could happen. Lions could pop out. Or you might just meet someone else and start chatting and say, hey, we might know each other. Or let's go to Africa, let's go visit. Thank you for being part of this afternoon with us. And remember, you can send that I love Africa or I love Safari Live, hashtag Safari Live if you want to tweet it. Email to questions@wildearth.tv. Hello Donna, maybe you've just joined us. Donna's just asking, why is this leopard breathing so hard or panting so hard? We just talked about it a couple of minutes ago. Donna, just a quick sort of 24-hour recap or history on this specific leopard. This leopard is called Kunyuma, which means to be shy. He's a little bit shy sometimes, other times not at all. He's the daughter of Karula, brother of Q, and he killed a Nyala bull. A Nyala is an antelope that looks a little bit like Bambi, sort of. Beautiful antelope, stripes, reddish coat for the females, dark brown coat for the males. And he killed a Nyala here last night sometime, had a bit of something to eat from it. Then the hyena stole it from him and he's been around. We saw him briefly this morning, but he disappeared into very thick stuff. And we found him again this afternoon. So the reason he's panting so fast is because he did get a good meal in before the hyena stole his food. Well, they didn't really steal his food. I mean, they're all opportunists. I mean, it's like the leopard didn't steal the Nyala's life. The leopard just hunted it because that's what he does, and the hyena stole the food from him because that's what they do. So it all works together. But he has a full belly, and because the belly is so full, it's pushing up against the diaphragm, and it means he can't take deep breaths. So he's got to take short, shallow breaths. You see it the best or the most with lions. When lions have killed like a big buffalo and they gorge themselves. Now a big male lion weighs, let's say, 200 kilograms or so, but more sometimes. But Timba that we saw yesterday, if they're hungry, they can eat about 40 kilograms in one go. 40 kilograms, so a 200 kilogram lion, that's 440 pounds, can eat 5% of his body weight. That is, why am I, not 5%, sorry, I haven't done this math in a while. They can eat 10% of their body weight. So, okay, just forget everything I just said. Let's start over. At 200 kilograms, so I'm converting it all to the non-metric system, which is not one that I grew up with. So, a 200 kilogram lion weighs about 440 pounds. A 200 kilogram lion can eat about 40 kilograms of food. That is about 20% of their body weight. So that is about 88 pounds, give or take. So call it 90 pounds in one sitting. Now that's amazing if you think of just that volume of food that they can consume. Put that into perspective. I weigh about 80 odd kilograms. That's about 170 pounds. So that would be the equivalent of me eating 34 kilograms of meat in one go. Now obviously I'm built differently from a lion. We built differently not only in physical shape but also in what we eat, how our digestive system works. These guys eat massive amounts, but then they can go for quite a long period of time without eating. So a leopard like this, he might have eaten, I'm guessing, he's got a pretty full belly, so let's work at close to 10% of his body weight. So he ate about, give or take, 10 kilograms of food, 20 odd pounds of food, but he could now go on this for 2 or 3 or 4 days quite easily. Okay, I was confused myself halfway through, but I think I've found the way back to the mathematics of it. Point is, It's a system that works very well for them. And when they eat well, and then they rest, and then they do their thing, and then they eat well again. Although I was very optimistic earlier that he was going to get up and do something. In fact, I was hoping that he was going to jump up on that tree in the back for us and give us a bit of a display. But I'm getting the sense that I'm hoping not falling asleep due to the sound of my voice. That would not be a good sign.
That would be disappointing.
For just north of Treehouse Dam, there's that big jackalberry on the small Shedulu. Just come north from there, you'll see me. Oh, come south, I mean. So I'm just letting Ephraim know he's one of the other game drivers from Cheetah Plains, and really great friend of mine. I've known Ephraim for many years now. I think I came to the Djuma the first time, I think it was 2002, something like that. So 13 years later, Ephraim was there then already. One of the best trackers then, still is, phenomenally good tracker. He's now one of the top guides at Cheetah Plains. Down for your right there. Otherwise, you can come park right behind me. It's also good view. So he's joined us as well. Very happy guest in the back. Guys, and I made the comparison this morning. You know, we talk about the bush newspaper. Driving around, there's all these things that give you information. You know, there's tracks on the ground and birds are flying. Sometimes vultures will show you something, or alarm calls from squirrels, and smells that you might pick up, knowing the area. All these things play a role in building a picture and in enabling you to find things and interpret things and sort of look for stories and interesting things to see and to share. And then I made the comparison. I said, you know, as much as the bush newspaper is very, very good for finding things and it helps us a lot, just as important, perhaps more important, is the bush radio. And that's the one I was on just now, the one where all the guides can talk to each other and share information about what they're reading on the ground, tracks and things, but also about what they're actually finding. And that is a huge part of why we get to see such amazing wildlife in this area. We're going to sit here for a bit more, as I've said a number of times now. He could move at any second, but he could stay like this for an hour or two. We're going to stay with him, see what he gets up to. As I've mentioned, another game driver's joined us, so those flashes you see every now and again is from some of the cameras there. There was one. But it doesn't bother the leopard at all. Their eyes are incredibly well adapted to low light, but also to recovery from like a flash or something like that. So no consideration and no bother to him whatsoever. But we're going to stay. If anything happens, we're going to get you back immediately. For now, enjoy the ride with Hayden. Please say hello to him from us as well, and we'll see you back here soon.
So we've just continued along a lot of these roads, just scanning our eyes, looking for any signs of either leopard or lion. It's a bit quiet this evening. I just bumped into Texan as well, one of the Djuma guys, fantastic guide, super bloke. He's brought us into sightings so many times, and he just said it was a bit quiet as well. But Kunyuma's over there with Pete, flat, and we'll probably be active quite soon. So I just wanted to give you a quick update to let you know that we are out, always looking, always making a plan, and always going down these little less trodden paths. And I love these little back roads that don't really have a name or a place to go except into the bush. And Yeah, I mean, we just keep looking, and it's a perfect time. Very difficult for a human eye to differentiate now because there's no shadows. It's just a flat, very, very dull light, and we have to use the aid of lights sometimes, which we've got on the vehicle here. We've got these wash lights in our headlights, and they're very gentle, they're very soft, and even if you just put them on now, they do give us a little bit of a help in this dim light. The camera, I might just buff it off a little bit actually, because the camera does pick up the light very, very well. It's a dynamic camera that it grabs as much available light as it possibly can, but it gets to a point where it gets quite grainy, so we do put these lights on. Always good to look up in these beautiful marula trees as well, just to see. You saw what happened with Q yesterday when he went up that tree, and he stayed up that tree for quite some time, so it's worth always looking up into these trees, these beautiful trees with these limbs that go out horizontally. Just scanning an area called Quarantine, which is where Q used to be found, a lot where he got his name, Quarantine Male, but been shortened to Q. And we all love that cat. I particularly love that cat. He's my first cat, leopard I should say, that I saw on Djuma. And it's sort of Karula territory as well. You know, you can bump into her here. You just never know. So it's been a fantastic time this afternoon. Very, very different, always different. The most important thing to us is not who gets the most animals or anything ever like that. The whole project is about just bringing you the most incredible experience. And some days you can have quiet drives and the other person's got loads of things going on, and the other days you've got loads of things both going on. You don't know what to go to. It's just the luck of the draw. And you know what? It's fantastic that the message just gets across to you of how wonderful Wild Safari Live is, and you're on the vehicle with us. And I love it. I love it all. I just love being here. It's fantastic. So really nice stuff today. Some Ellies with Pete, a few Ellies with us, buffs with Pete, bit of buff action with us. Look at that sky, just a quick one. I just want to have you look at that colour, just for one quick second. I know we see loads of African sunsets in our time, but that is a pretty lovely colour. Really nice. We see loads of them, but it's definitely worth stopping at. You can't drive past without just a 10-second grab and have a look at that beautiful, beautiful sunset. Just going to drop ourselves down. The lights are getting the light is really dropping fast now. Just never know what you can see. So I'll bring the spotlight out just for a second. Question from Barbara. Hi Barbara, welcome aboard, and I hope you've been with us all afternoon. Question from Barbara in Maryland, and Barbara, you want to know whether we get poison ivy or poison oak. Not that I know of. We do get a fair few different plants here that can be toxic, and also you can have an allergic reaction to, but we don't have poison ivy or poison oak here, Barbara, that's for sure. Well, not for sure, not that I know of. If it was, it'd be an introduced species, and there's loads of different plants that will have medicinal uses. Brent is fantastic at all that sort of information, particularly because of growing up with Shangaan people working, his father and his family working around Shangaan people for so long. He's got great knowledge of all the medicinal uses of the plants. So I will ask him when I get off the vehicle tonight, Barbara, and maybe come back to you tomorrow and sort of just give you an update on a couple of the toxic plants that he thinks might be similar to poison oak or poison ivy. Thanks for your question, Barbara. Through here, everyone, just because, and I won't get Andrew to follow the spotlight because it can make you feel a little bit ill, the camera going from side to side. So I'm just going to keep looking, and of course, as soon as I see something, and make sure you have a look ahead for me as well. Fantastic. Amy in Surrey, back in England where I work during the week. Amy, fantastic to have you on board tonight, matey. And it was a beautiful sunset. Amy just commented on that sunset and what are the sounds that I can hear now and what do I love hearing at night. Loads of different sounds, Amy, that particularly of birds, like some of the species of birds that you find at the waterholes that vocalise these ground plovers and different birds that are sort of quintessential African sounds that going to sleep at night. But one of the sounds that I have to tell you just makes your hair stand on end is when it's completely silent and you turn the vehicle off and you sit there and you hear ooh, off in the distance, and you start to hear that lion roar. Ooh. And you hear it again, and the hair just stands up on your arms and on the back of your neck, and it's one of the most incredible sounds I could ever tell you that you could hear in Africa. And so Amy, fantastic to hear you and fantastic to have you on board. That's my favourite sound. You never know what's around the next corner, mate. Down to our dam again. I've just done a big circle, and this is leopard country, big leopard country here, folks. You can never know what you can see. You can be really shocked sometimes with what you see. Just scanning. I think the most important thing that we've gathered is that there's all different drives, you know, and all different times. You have quiet times, you'll have busy times. I think we've got a couple of guests here at this water point, and this is going to be quite a beautiful scene. If I can set this up for you folks, this is one of my dreams, to set this little scene up for you. If this works, I'm going to be a very, very happy boy. Oh yeah. Wait until you see this. Just let me pull up and surprise everyone first, Andrew. Just let me get into position for you. This is to say thank you for watching today. Let's just have a look at this. I'm going to move up a little bit more. Okay, folks, this is for you. The quintessential Africa, folks. Now, I know you see a million sunsets in Africa, but this is what it's all about. It's all about those moments, and when we can bring those to you on Wild Safari Live, our job is done. Our job is really done. What a way to finish. To say thank you very, very much, everyone, for watching today. Peter Pretorius is on fire and back in the saddle so easily. He's just great to watch, great to listen to, and I tell you what, we're going to have the best time over the next few weeks together, the next week, sorry, and it's just great to be with you. You're really supporting everyone here, and we wouldn't be doing it without you. So again, thank you very, very much for joining us today in Djuma and Arathusa game reserves here in Sabi Sands. It's just a beautiful, beautiful way to finish the day. I'm just going to let you sit with those pictures until we cross back to Pete, but I just thought that is just quite special. Can I ask a favour, Andrew? Could you just go in a little bit tighter for me, just to see what that looks like? I just want to... I definitely would never tell you what to do, mate. I just want to see what a frame looks like. Oh, yeah. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Just a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, mate. That's great. Isn't that beautiful, folks? A breeding herd. It's so special to watch a breeding herd come down for their afternoon drink. You never know what's around the next corner. Well, folks, as a warm, beautiful wind blows over our backs here on the dam wall of Waiatela Dam, I'd like to say farewell to you from Andrew and I. It's been a beautiful day with you, and it doesn't get much better than finishing like that for me. You've been superb, you've been fantastic on questions, and really, really thank you. We look forward to talking to you again tomorrow morning for our sunrise drive here on Wild Safari Live. We'll see you next time, guys, and we don't know what's around that next corner.
Well, not much to say, really. It's been a fantastic afternoon, starting with big animals, different animals, beautiful views, clouds. It's really been fun, and of course finding a leopard at the end has been a big highlight for us, especially my favorite leopard. Also, I believe you had a beautiful view, Gari Dam. We were sitting there last night. Brian and myself were sitting there at sunset last night. So a stunning view, and to have elephants drinking silhouetted at the same time, it's as good as it gets. So from Hayden's side, he said cheers already. We're about to do the same. We've got about 2 minutes left. The leopard is still here. Let's have a look at him. He hasn't done much. He's been taking it easy. And while we look at him, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you that's part of this. And I don't just mean Tara and Nikki back in control and the whole team out here. I actually mean all of you all over the world. That really is a big part of this. Thank you also for all the emails letting us know that you like Africa, that you like safaris, that you enjoy this kind of thing. Thank you so much. We got, I believe, hundreds of those coming in, and I'm just a very happy, lucky man this afternoon. We've had a good drive. It's cooling down a little bit now. Last night was quite hot. Feels like we're going to have a nice cool evening tonight. So yeah, I'm just excited for what we saw today, excited about what we're going to see tomorrow.
It was a fantastic day.
It's been an awesome day, yeah. Awesome. This guy might stick around. He's got a full belly. Very likely we might find him again in the area tomorrow. Never know what's going to happen. And while I'm talking about being excited, I'm excited about what we're doing at the moment. So for all of you that are part of this, there's going to be lots of people joining us over the next while. We're busy building up to Mother's Day weekend coming in a week. Mother's Day on the Sunday, the Saturday as well. 2 live drives. It'll be to TV in North America. It'll be very exciting, and it's nice to have all of you that are on the drive now in the next few days, our friends on the drive with us. So a big thank you to today. And there's not really much more to say for me other than that I really, really enjoyed this afternoon. I was sitting here a number of times just reminding myself how happy we are, how lucky we are to be able to do this. See wild animals, beautiful wild animals like this leopard in the environment doing what they do and sharing it all around the world. So I think I've said thank you about 10 times. It'll be my 11th one. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening and day wherever you might be. We see you back here tomorrow on Wild Earth for the live safari. Bye-bye.